everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Kris. If you are new here, thank you for taking the time out of your day to stop by and check out what I've been up to. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate your support. I did take a little bit of a hiatus from cross-stitching and making videos to pursue some other hobbies, but I couldn't stay away from stitching for too long and was drawn back in, and have been working on a few things, and I thought I would pop on and share those with you. So let's jump in with some statistics for what I've been doing for the last few months. So I've worked on 5 of my whips. I had 2 new starts, which actually turned into finishes, and I didn't have any FFOs. So let's jump right in with the whips. I will start by mentioning, anybody that's watched some of my last few videos, I've been working on a year-long stitch along by Carolyn Manning Designs called Mini Tree Hugger Cell. And yeah, I haven't done any more trees since the last one I showed you at the end of August. So I do still plan to finish it out, but I'm not, since I've missed a few months, I'm not gonna rush to catch all up again. I think I'm just gonna put it in with my whip rotation and we'll finish it eventually. So you'll see it down the road at another point. So the first whip that I worked on was my whip called White Horse. It's a pattern that I got from Etsy from a store called Ava's Designs BG. I'll link it down below. I started this in July of this year during my month-long birthday sale, Stitch All the Horses. It's done on an 18 count white Aida with all of the called for DMC threads. The really fun thing about this project is that, and I'll put a picture of what it's going to look like when it's completed here, but I think there's only 9 different colors, and then maybe there's 7 blends of those 9 colors. But I'm just amazed at the detail that the artist has created just with that few colors. So. And you'll have to pardon my threads. A lot of my pieces are full coverage and I park, so there will be some threads on a lot of them. But so this is where I am so far. And this is fun because this is a pattern I can use the Pattern Keeper app for, so it makes it really easy to follow along and highlight and mark off stitches as you complete them. But yeah, so there's that one. The next whip that I worked on, I believe it's called Horses. I refer to it as grazing horses, but this is what it'll look like when it's done. It's a kit by, oh, I can never say the name. There's the name there, however that is pronounced. So it's done on all the kit fabric, which is a 16 count cream Zweigart Aida with all the DMC threads that are in the kit. And this is where I'm at. So I've just been working on that dandelion, that top dandelion there in the left top corner. There's a lot of yellows in there. 3 or 4 different yellows, I think. So yeah, just a little bit of progress on that one. My next whip that I worked on was Leaves of Love, the clematis. This is part of a 2-part set, I guess I would say, 2 companion pieces. I've already stitched the first one, which was the dogwood, I think, and this one's the clematis. So that's what it'll look like when it is done. And I'll maybe pull out the other one and show it to you when I get this one closer to a finish. But I'll just put something behind that for you so it shows up a little bit better. Again, I have a couple park threads there, but These are really pretty because she uses, Kris uses really vibrant colors, and doing it on the black, they just really pop off of there. So this is a 28 count black Lugana with the DMC threads. And that's when I kind of took my break and started playing a lot of Animal Crossing. But I recently came back because this piece was calling my name, Spray Paint, by, I got that through Artecy, and I apologize, I forget who the artist is who did the original artwork, but I'll try and put it down here if I remember. I'm doing this on an 18 count Aida. It is full coverage. I did dye this Aida myself, just because I didn't want to stitch on white because there's so much dark in the background. And I wanted to play around a little bit and try some different dyeing techniques. I was sort of watching tutorials on YouTube type of thing. So I knew I wanted to sort of dye it like a gray color, and then I wanted to play around with creating modeling and adding in a second color just to see what it looked like. The sad thing is you'll never see this because it's a full coverage piece, but I thought it was a good way to maybe experiment and play around a little bit and not worry about the outcome because I knew you weren't going to see it anyway. But it worked out really well, and I'll definitely do that again, I think, for a piece in the future. But so I will also hopefully have inserted a picture of where this was the last time you would have seen it. This was another start during my birthday month-long sale of Stitch All the Horses. So you've just seen the first horse, and this right here is actually the bridge of the nose of the second horse coming in there. So yeah, I've definitely done a full page up here. I started this page over here, but once I got down to the bottom of the column on the bottom of that page, I didn't feel like going up right away and doing all this confetti of this foliage up here. And I really wanted to see more of this horse's head because I just had it to there. So I started this page down here so I could get to this horse's head. So, but yeah, that's been a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying stitching on this. And it kind of had my undivided attention for a little while. But then I pulled out one of my other whips, which I'll show you here next. And I'll talk a little bit about a bit more about this when I talk about plants. But so this is my North Wind stocking. It's a Dimensions Gold kit. The artist is Diana Rice Bonin. That's what it's going to look like when it's finished. And this is where it is right now. So I've mostly done work down there around the polar bear. You can see that shadow of a bunny. I say shadow because the bunny's actually not stitched, just some of his highlights and lowlights are stitched. The rest of it's just the white of the Aida. But there's quite a bit of backstitch in this pattern, so it'll be really fun to see little details like that come to life. And if you've seen this in the past, you might remember it had a different name on the top. This was a kit that I bought many moons ago after I'd stitched my first stocking back in the 1990s. I had purchased a couple other kits because I thought I would like to make stockings for my husband and I. And then my second daughter came along and I made a stocking for her. And so this one was going to be for my husband, but I found another pattern that I think he'll like better. And my youngest daughter doesn't love the original stocking. I made it when she's a baby. I didn't know her personality as well. It's quite girly and she's more of a tomboy, and I just felt it didn't suit her personality. So this one suits her a lot better. It's colors that she gravitates towards, and it's, you know, she loves animals and critters and wolves. And so I think this one suits her better. So I took my husband's name out, put her name on it, and I'm going to make it for her, and she seems happy with that plan. So so those are the whips that I've been working on. I do have two small projects that were starts and finishes. So One of them was this little pattern. This is a Waxing Moon Designs freebie. This is just called Spring Bird. So there's one for obviously spring, summer, fall, winter, and I've done 3 of them. So that's the spring one that I just finished this summer. That's the autumn one. And this is the summer one. So I have one more to do in the series. You might notice that, so these were the first 2 that I stitched. This is just some 28 count Monaco that I dyed with some tan Rit dye. This one, again, is 28 count Monaco, but this is when I was playing around with different dyeing techniques and seeing different ways to create modeling. So I decided I wanted the fabric to be a little bit more interesting than this flat color. So that's what I got for this one, and I have one more piece to do the winter one on that is similar to this. So I'm going to decide whether I go back with these ones, and I've heard of people taking like tea bags and kind of aging the fabric, so I'll decide whether I want to try that, or if that's going to risk ruining it, I might just leave them the way they are, because they're fine the way they are too. My hope with these is I want to finish them and use this little wooden box that I got at Michael's. So I'm going to put some sort of a finish on the box, and then these guys should fit nicely on the top of the box. And then I'm hoping maybe that you'll be able to change them out. But yeah, we'll have to see how that works. So stay tuned for that, but I think they should fit on there just fine. So that is my first new start and finish. I do have another one, but that's going to kind of tie into my next segment, which I'm calling Happy Mail / haul, because most of my haul comes in the mail. So I'm just going to call it all Happy Mail. But the first thing I wanted to mention, if you happen to watch my last video at the end of August, I was talking about the upcoming Friend Stitch that I was going to participate in. That's an online virtual retreat put on by Heart and Hand and Bent Creek. And I had showed you my box that I hadn't opened at the time. And so that has taken place since I last saw you. So I'm sure most of you have probably seen other people share with you what was in the box and what we did. So I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail or spend a whole lot of time on it. But in case you hadn't seen that, I wanted to give you a little glimpse of what all we got, kind of thing. So this was the box. Happy Autumn. So when you opened it up, that's kind of what it looked like inside. And there's all kinds of goodies in here. So one of the things we got was this little project bag. And so in here I have put, this was my other start and finish. This is called, I think it was Autumn Gathering, yeah, is what it was called. So it was this cute little mini sampler. So I started and finished that ahead of the date of the retreat. And then they gave us all the supplies to finish it in our kit. So they gave us this really cute little backing board to put it on. And then there's some trim to put around the edge. That's some mat board. There's some batting to put underneath. So basically everything that you need to complete the project. And then part of the event was there was a finishing tutorial walking you through the steps of how to finish it. So that was great. We got this cute little Friend Stitch. You know, you can use it as a keychain or a zipper pull or part of a scissor fob. It's got a little lobster claw clip there. And it's really nice quality. It's like a wooden thing. The next thing we got was this pattern, which is this Friend Stitch owl, who is too adorable. And this I'm looking forward to doing because he's actually done on an 18 count linen. and you use, oh my goodness. It's not the floss, it's the words completely escape me. So yeah, so I will put the name of what it is. Pearl cotton. There it is. It came to me finally. So yeah, so it's this little owl, and he is stitched with pearl cotton on 18 count linen. So that should be fun and interesting to do. So the other pattern in here is this one, Let Joy In. So it's sort of like a sampler-esque pattern. And it comes with all the flosses and the little buttons. Oops, sorry. And it was really fun because they sort of walked us through, it's kind of like the process of designing this pattern and the different evolutions of it. So that was really neat to see. They also gave us this little Let's Learn linen and needle. This cute little notebook. Really nice quality. Metal lining. Now there's this little pumpkin button, which I forget if it goes somewhere special or not. It's been a little while. That was like the 19th of September that we did that. They gave us a little needle threader. And some candy corn, in case we got hungry. Now I think, oh, I think that's what it was, that little pumpkin button, I think was hidden in the bottom of our box underneath everything as a fun little surprise type of thing. But so then that's how it was all packed in that sort of shredded paper. So yeah, so that was Friend Stitch. It was definitely a lot of fun. I couldn't believe how quickly the time went by. I'm not very good at just sitting still for hours on end, but I'm also not great at stitching when I'm trying to really focus on what I'm watching and I don't want to miss anything. So I didn't actually stitch. I had stitching with me, but I didn't do it. But yeah, the time just flew by. It was just a lot of fun, and they did a lot of different segments. Just again, like the finishing tutorial and how they came about their designing that pattern. At the beginning, they talked about their two companies, Bent Creek and Heart and Hand, and how their companies came about, sort of thing. And I think there was a fun, shopping at Dollar Tree and coming up with vignettes to decorate for the fall. But yeah, just a lot of really fun stuff. So it definitely was a really interesting experience, and I would definitely do it again because I really enjoyed it. So that was Friend Stitch. If anybody has any questions, if I've left something out or I didn't explain something, then definitely make a comment down below and I'll answer your questions if I can. So that was the first of my happy mail. My other happy mail, I did actually, it was a while ago, and I forgot to show it in my last video, but I actually won a giveaway, which was exciting. I haven't won a Flosstube giveaway before. So it was Patchy Pony Stitcher, Mel, over in Tasmania. She had a giveaway. She often does giveaways in her videos. I'll link her Flosstube down below. But she was doing a drawing for the Blue Flowers Autumn Squirrel. And if you've watched any of my past videos, you know I've done the Blue Flowers Winter Squirrel, I think. And so this is one that I wanted to do. I just love the colors in this. I love that little squirrel. So I was so excited to win that. And Mel's kind of cute when she does it. She she hadn't contacted me before she filmed the video where she did the drawing, the random number or random comment generator. So I literally was watching her video and my name came up and I'm like, that's me, I won, I actually won. one kind of thing. So it was really fun that I kind of think it's nice that she does that. It gives people a chance to actually win, find out they've won as they're watching the video. So she didn't just send the pattern, of course. She sent this really sweet card with a sweet note inside. And she sent me this tea, which I haven't drank yet, but that sounds interesting. I'm looking forward to trying that. And she sent this really cute little bell needle minder. So thank you, Mel. That was so sweet. It was such a fun surprise to win and such a nice little package to get in the mail. So yeah, so people enter those draws. You never know when you might win one. The other thing I received in the mail, I just happened to stumble across somebody's Etsy shop, and they were selling some used charts. I guess they were destashing. And the one that drew me in was this one, the Victoria Sampler. I've looked at these since I first came back into stitching and saw them. I just think they're just really intricate and pretty. And this is one of the ones that I've always really liked. Let's see. Jingle Bells Christmas Tree Farm. So I'm looking forward in the future someday to stitching this. I am going to have to read the whole thing and learn a little bit more about it. I know these often have specialty stitches, which that's fine. This one doesn't have any hard hanger or pulled thread work, which I'm kind of glad for because that scares me. But I know the floss list is fairly long and quite varied. I believe they often use a lot of different types of floss, silk floss and hand-dyed flosses, that type of thing. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of research to see if I can still get all those threads, because this is an older chart, 2005, or if anybody's done any sort of a conversion. I'll have to look to see if I can find that, but I just think it's a really pretty chart, and I'm really looking forward to stitching it. I love this little cabin up here. I love the little deer, the little squirrel. All the trees are really nice, and of course the horse-drawn sleigh with the dog is right up my alley, so that's going to be fun. And then I also saw, this is just a really little thing that came in, but this is, I say Vervaco, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it was a kit that the seller had on her shop, and I just love that little bird. I think it's a wren, and wren is actually one of my online names I use in the gaming world, but I just thought that was really sweet. So the one thing I didn't realize is the Vervaco kits, I think, are stitched with DMC threads, but they don't give you the numbers in the kits. So the legend, the key, has all the symbols, and the numbers beside them with what I got are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I did look online, and on their website, one of the frequently asked questions is, why don't you give DMC numbers? And I think it's exactly for this reason, is they maybe don't want people copying charts, or for copyright laws or whatever. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that, if I'm just going to have to try and pick my own colors, but we'll see. But anyway, it's still cute, and I have it now, so someday maybe I'll be able to stitch it. So the other happy mail I got, my friend Nicole, hi Nicole, Buckeye Stitcher, sent along this copy of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, because she had shown it in one of her videos a couple years ago, because it's the 2018 copy. She had shown this pattern that she was going to stitch, and I had commented and said about how adorable that was, and she says, oh, I'll send the magazine on to you when I'm done with it. But there are so many really cute things in here. This Teresa Kogut, I think, is really adorable. I love that this is punch needle. It makes me want to learn to do punch needle, just so I can make that little snowman sticking his nose out towards those cute little cardinals. But yeah, everybody knows what a great magazine it is. So, and then my last happy mail, my Flosstube friend and my Etsy shop customer, Holly, sent this along to me. She had contacted me and said that she had a kit that she wasn't going to stitch, and thought that maybe I would like it because it featured my favorite subject matter. So, isn't he beautiful? So this is Whistle Jacket, based on this guy's artwork, Stubbs. I forget his full name, I apologize. But I did do a little bit of research about him because I thought it was a really interesting picture. And Holly had mentioned to me that when she was thinking about stitching it, this gold, that is all background stitches. Like, he stitched that. And she thought, no way was she going to spend all that time just stitching color in the background. And that is how the painting is done. Like, the painting solely focuses on this horse. So there's no rider, there's no riding equipment, there's, you know, it's a free horse, and with this no background to distract from the horse or thing. So Holly had said she had thought about using some fancy fabric to stitch it on. And I thought that was a great idea. And I actually have a piece which I meant to bring to show you. So I'm going to pause for a minute and go grab it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So before I show you the fabric, before I forget, so this is a full kit. It does come with like a white Ada. Look at all these background colors. I'm going to have to stitch with these 5 colors to stitch the horse. But so this is a painting. It's a life-size painting in the National Gallery in London. He's an Arabian stallion. Sorry. He's an Arabian stallion. He belonged to the second Marquess of Rockingham, and he commissioned the artist Stubbs to paint this horse of his. Apparently it's one of the best known portraits of a horse, and yes, it's life-size. And I had read somewhere, I believe the way the gallery is set up, and there's different rooms or areas, and I think some of them have like big arched doorways between them. And this painting is sort of set on the wall so people coming towards the room can see it framed perfectly by the archway as they're coming towards it. So that's going on my bucket list now. If I ever get to London again, I was there once when I was in university. I did a backpacking trip around Europe. I'm going to go to the National Gallery and see Whistle Jacket in real life. So thank you so much, Holly. That was so thoughtful of you, and I can't wait to stitch him someday. And the fabric I was thinking about stitching him on was this fabric that I'd bought a while ago from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. So it's called Acorn. It's a 32 count linen. I have to do the measurements to see if it's big enough. I would hope that it would be. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match, but I'd have to do the floss toss and all that. But anyway, so thank you again so much for that, Holly. I was touched by your kindness and your generosity. So I think that's it for Happy Mail. So the next thing I just want to talk about a little bit are my future starts. I usually try to include the segment Future Start where I kit up something that I'm going to stitch in the future, usually with no specific plan of when I'm going to stitch it. Just it's a way of getting some of my patterns out of binders or wherever they happen to be and getting everything ready. So it just makes it really easy if I do choose to start something new in the future. So the first one that I want to show you is the hands-on design, A Year in Chalks. So you're probably familiar with these. Again, when I first came back to stitching, was my first introduction to a series. I saw it on Caroline Off the Grid Needle Art's channel. She was stitching these, and I just thought they were really they're simple, but they're quite striking, I think. And I love how there's just one color, and then the white or the chalk colored fancy floss. The one thing I thought I might do is try and figure out a way to incorporate the month. I have a cute little cursive back stitching type font that I might see if I can incorporate, because they're not always obvious. Like this is actually September, but if you just saw that sitting there, I don't know if you would go, oh, that's September type of thing. Obviously October, November, which again, we have Thanksgiving in October in Canada, but that's okay. December is very obvious. You know, January, let it snow, I guess. You know, February is pretty obvious with Valentine's Day. March with being lucky. Hello spring says spring, but again, you know, is that April? Is that May? And then again, this plant seeds, is that April? Is that May? Is that June? Catch a wave, is that June, July, August? So that's why I thought I might try and see if I can incorporate that, the month. So I'm stitching those on the called for fabric, which is the gunmetal, Weeks Dye Works gunmetal. I couldn't get the 30 count, so I ended up getting 32. This is one of the things I bought when I retired. My co-workers gave me a very generous gift certificate to Traditional Stitches. So this is one of the things I bought with my gift certificate. Was I'd had a couple of these in my stash that I'd found on discount at a shop, but I needed the other 10. So I ordered the other 10 and I ordered the fabric. I decided to order the chalk because it's used on all of them. So I've got the 10-yard skein of chalk. I know some people like Caroline, I think, just used DMC white. And I think she had kind of bought hers, not as a kit, but I think the store she bought hers from, they had given them all the called for fancy flosses for each of the months, sort of in pre-cut lengths. But I didn't want to, you know, spend $4 for a skein of a color that I didn't need that much of. So I just decided to do the colors from my stash and buy the chalk to do the white with. So I just picked some colors that I thought were similar. I even picked some DMCs for some of them. And yeah, so that's all ready to go when I'm ready to start another series. So I'm not going to start another series until I'm finished. I still have to complete the Snowflower Diaries Joyful World cell from quite a few years ago before I'm going to start another sort of monthly series kind of thing. So that is technically my future start. I do have 2 more though, because I have decided I want to do a Christmas Eve start and a New Year's start. And you might laugh at me in a minute when I talk about my plans, but anyway, let's do this first. So this is going to be my Christmas Eve start. This was a freebie chart that I got on the freebie table at StitchCon 2019. I just really like this Santa and I really like this color palette. So I would like to stitch him, and then I'm going to try making him into a stand-up. I'm going to use Vanna's tutorial. Vanna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher, has a tutorial for doing a stand-up. Thank you, Vanna, for all of your wonderful tutorials. I don't know where we would be without them. So I'm going to stitch that on my leftover 32 count Picture This Plus Legacy linen. It's showing fairly green there, but it's not really that green. It's a little closer. There's green to it, but it's got a lot of sort of tan and warmish tones. And then I'm just using, it calls for all DMCs, so just using the DMC threads for that. So that is going to be my Christmas Eve start, because I always like to start something on Christmas Eve or stitch on something special on Christmas Eve. So a new start felt more special than a stocking I've been working on for 4 years. My other new start is going to be my New Year New Start. I'm going to put a picture of it here. It's a PDF that I got from Awesome Pattern Studio, and it's the Whippet. Well, Whippet is the name of the pattern. And I have done a color conversion on this because you see here there's a lot of pinks in it, and I'm not opposed to pink, but I don't decorate my house with pinks or purples or colors like that. My house is kind of earth tones. So I decided to do a more natural conversion. And so these are the colors that I'm going to do. And I've shown this before when I first purchased this pattern. Because the fun thing I discovered is when you upload it into Pattern Keeper, you can go in and manually change the colors and it will give you a mock-up of what it's going to look like. So that was really, really cool. So I put all these colors in and I like how they look, so they should hopefully stitch up okay. And I have decided to do it on this piece of linen that I bought the first time I ever went to an L&S, Stitch It Central, when they were still in Ingersoll. It's called Time, and it's a 28 count, but I don't know who the company is that made it because the label on the fabric was torn and it just had the 28 count time. So if anybody knows, I don't know, you know, it's kind of floppy, so I'm like going, oh, is it a week's dye work? But I'm not sure. So anyway, that's it there. So I'm looking forward to starting that in honor of my whippet I have now and the whippet that I had in the past. So speaking of which, my whippet is having a nap in his crate. He's being a very good boy. He's really growing. I'm going to insert some photos, and I think I might have a little video clip at the end of the video if you care to stick around and see how big he's gotten and see him out in the wild. He's still very sweet and funny, like makes us laugh all the time, and he's growing into a big dog, so enjoy the photos and the videos. So a couple last things that I wanted to do as far as stitching goes. The last thing I want to talk about is plans. So this is why you're gonna laugh. Since I came back to my stitching there just in the last month or so, I've been thinking a bit about my rotation and how I want to stitch, what I want to accomplish as the year's coming to an end and a new year starting. And I really do want to get some of my projects finished, especially some of my older projects that feel like they've been hanging around for a long time. So one of those is the Northwind stocking that I showed you that I've been working on. That is currently my oldest whip. I do have my little journal that these pages are out of that I put my start date, so it's really easy to go through there and see which ones I've been working on the longest. So I think what my new plans are going to be, I'm really going to try not to start anything new after New Year's until I at least complete 2 of my older whips. And that way I can gradually dwindle my whip numbers down to what I feel is a more manageable level. I probably have about 20-ish right now, and that's anxiety provoking to me. So I think in the new year, what I'm going to try and do, and this isn't written in stone because I think I might have to sort of play with it a little bit and see what is going to work for me. Since I started stitching again this past month, I've really enjoyed working on spray paint and working on it exclusively. It's just nice to get really familiar with a pattern, especially a big pattern like that, get familiar with the symbols, know exactly where you are in the piece, where you're going, and not have to keep pulling things in and out, especially with Ollie. Like I can't just leave things laying around. I got to keep them tucked away and stuff. So, you know, when I want to switch projects to deal, I got to get my basket, pull it out of the bin where it is, you know, put it up somewhere where he's not bothering me, find the one I want, take it out, put the other one in. So it was nice just having that one project out and not having to keep switching projects. So I'm not sure if I'm going to try and stick to that. You know, part of me worries if I just stick to one project that I'm going to get burnt out and not want to stitch. So I think I want some variety. So I think I'm going to start the year with a primary focus project, which is my oldest project that I'm going to keep working on until it's done. It doesn't get put away. I just keep working on it until it's finished. So that one right now is my Northwind stocking. So that project it's going to get worked on until it's done. And then I might choose a secondary focus project. So right now I'm thinking of spray paint as my secondary focus project. So I have those two to bounce between during the week, as sort of, whatever's calling to me, I'll stitch one or the other type of thing. And then I'm going to decide whether on the weekends I want to spin the wheel again, just to throw something else in for interest's sake, and again, so that I'm touching some of those older whips and they're getting a little bit of progress on them as well. But yeah, I'm going to see how that goes, because I may take out the weekend spin. I've even thought about, some people will have like 3, 4, 5, 6 projects that they just work on those, and then once one's finished, they add in a new one. I'm just a little bit leery of that, because I have several fairly large projects, and if I end up with those all in my rotation, I may never finish anything, for years, kind of thing. If I had a rotation of 3 or 4. So, and I don't want to manually pick things, because I know myself, and I will, manually pick the things I really like, and the things that maybe don't call to me as much. I still want to finish them, but they maybe don't call to me as much, or they're not as fun to stitch on because they're more challenging. They'll just keep getting left in the whip bin, and I'll never touch them. So I like to do the spinning the wheel, because it's completely random, and that's where I worry, is if the wheel picks all my large projects, all of a sudden I'm have all these large projects, and I know I can change it. It's my plan, but that's just the way my brain is wired, I think. So yeah, so I'm gonna play around a little bit with it and see what works best for me. But I think I'll start the year with a similar format to what I was doing this year: 2 focus projects, spinning on the weekends. But my focus project number 1 is always going to stay my oldest whip until it is completed. So yeah, I think that's it as far as the stitching goes. If that's all you're here for, then thank you again for coming, and I'll see you next time. If you're curious about some of the things I have going on in my Etsy shop right now, or if you're interested in seeing a craft from the past, then stick around, and I can show you those. Or again, if you want to see some of Ollie, you can either fast forward through this or stick around, and I'll put him in at the end. So yeah, so the first thing I was going to show you is just a few things that I have up on my Etsy shop right now. So one of the things I recently put up are some new coasters that I tried. And this is a big thank you to Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. I'll link her down below. She did a tutorial. She did a quick Instagram tutorial, which is where I saw it, and I'm like going, oh, that looks really easy and fun. I'm going to try that. So I decided to try making some of these coasters and sell them in my shop. So this is just with some of the Christmas fabrics that I had on hand. So there's that set. There's this set. And the way these are made, you're using 5-inch squares, so I think they're called charm packs. I don't quilt, so I think they're called charm packs. So you need 5 squares, right? There's 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5. These are just folded in half and then overlap type of thing. So because all these fabrics overlap, they're like really nice and thick and sturdy type of thing. So those are those 2 with different backings. These ones are my patriotic ones with some of my patriotic fabrics. These are just some pretty fabrics that I purchased recently that I really liked. And this is some of my Anne of Green Gables fabric that I had left over. So those are feet coasters that are up there, if you care to check them out. I've also just made, I had these in my shop before and they sold out, so I decided to make some more recently. So these are my little floss organizers. So your floss is going here. So there's 16 pockets on each side. It's a really nice way to be able to, you can organize them by number. So it makes it really quick and easy to find what floss you're looking for. Obviously this is if you put your floss on bobbins. And yeah, because there's 16 on each side, you get 32, which does most projects fairly easily. And they are just about like 9.5 by 9.5. So they slip into a standard project bag quite nicely. So I really like organizing my flosses that way. So that's another one. And then I have, of course, some Christmas bags up in the shop that I just thought I would quickly show you. So this one, the cardinals. This one, I love this fabric. This fabric line is called We Whisk You a Merry Christmas. How cute is that, eh? This one. This is some fabric that my friend Nicole, hi Nicole, Buckeye Stitcher sent me last year at Christmas time. I love those Santas and Mrs. Santas, so cute. That's a Riley Blake fabric. This one is so pretty. And I have the reverse of this as well, with the plaid on the inside and the toile on the outside. So pretty. And there's a few other ones in there too. I just brought a few. And then I have one scrappy bag left. I had one other that sold. So this is that same We Whisk You a Merry Christmas. And then inside it's got that gingham, black and white gingham. So those are the things that are up there. I did want to show you a couple of things that I'm kind of just trying to see if I like them, and then might put them in my shop. But this one actually, this is something that I've made that I have put in the shop and sold a couple of them. But I just thought I'd show them to you in case you found them something that appealed to you or something you'd be interested in. I don't have any right now in the shop, but I will be making more in the future. So they're kind of fun. This is a pattern that I bought off of Etsy at the Bob and Jar is the name of her shop. And she gives permission that you can make them to sell them in small numbers. So yeah, I've made 2 and sold 2. I think that counts as small numbers. So, but yeah, so this one, the way she designed it, it has this elastic closure. I wasn't keen on how it pulled on my project. I tried making it again and made the elastic a little bit longer. And then I also made one with snaps. But when you open it up, it has like this little vinyl pocket that you can put. I put my flosses in there, but you could put your scissors or whatever else in there. It actually has little pockets in here, so if you're working on a small, you could even put your fabric and your pattern in there. And then this side has the felt that you can use to set your threads on, so you don't lose them and so they don't get caught on your sleeve or whatever. So but yeah, so that's a little floss organizer. The other thing I just tried, because when I sit and stitch, I usually have a drink of some sort, whether it's a glass of water or a pop that I'm drinking, and I usually have it on a coaster on the wooden table beside my stitching chair. And I've been stitching lately, and just when I've trimmed my threads, I've just been sitting them on the table. And I thought this one's a little bit big for my table's pretty small beside my chair, so I can like lay it like that if I need to. And when I'm doing this project this is in, that's what I've been doing. But so I decided to make a coaster thread bed combo. So my drink sits here, which then anchors the thread bed so it doesn't go anywhere. And then I can put my thread ends on there. And then it kind of just folds like this if you're going to take it with you somewhere, just to tuck it in your bag kind of thing. So yeah, so let me know if that's, I don't know if that's just a me thing. I'm really enjoying having it by my place where I'm working. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below if you have any, whether that's something like, oh yeah, I could use something like that. Because I am trying to decide whether to make some and put them in the shop for sale. So the other thing I thought I would try making, because I have started stitching with a hoop, which I've always just stitched in hand, but some of my larger projects, I'm finding it's a lot of unwieldy fabric to try and manhandle. So if I put it in a hoop, it's a lot easier just to roll the fabric up, you know, towards the edges of the hoop. And then I've been using some hair clips to kind of hold it. But I know a lot of people now are using those magnetic, they're kind of like silicone or rubber, and I think you can use them to wrangle cords and things as a tie to put around them, and then they have a magnet in each end that sticks together. So a lot of people are using those to hold their extra fabric on their Q-snap, right? So you bunch up the fabric and put the thing around, and the two magnets snap to each other on either side of your project, holding the fabric in. So I thought I would try making something like that. So I just have a piece of elastic and then two of my little covered buttons that I sometimes use as needle minders, and then they have magnets so they would snap like that. So I don't know whether the glue is going to hold or not, so I'm going to try it out and see if it works on my fabric. But yeah, so those are kind of the things I've been working on in my Etsy shop. Thanks for letting me share that with you. And yeah, I'll link my shop down below if you want to check things out, but no obligation. I'm not on here to try and sell stuff. I just thought in case people were interested, I'd share with you what's been going on over in that side of my life. The last thing I usually like to do a little segment for, and I keep saying I'm running out of crafts from the past to share with you, but I still have a couple, mostly my paper crafting related projects, but I still have a couple more I might share with you, and then I might just phase out that segment or come up with a different segment. But the last one I was going to share with you, the last thing I'm going to share with you today is a scrapbook that I did. So it's called Me. Because most of us, when we scrapbook, we don't usually scrapbook about ourselves. We usually scrapbook about our family members and the events in their lives. So this was actually a class that I took back in the day when I went to Creating Keepsakes University. If anybody is an old time scrapbooker, they used to do big scrapbooking conventions where you could go and take classes for like 3 days. So I had gone a number of times, and so one of the classes that I took was about making a scrapbook about you. So all the ideas for the layouts in here basically came from that class, but I didn't make this album till years later when I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So all of these papers and stuff. So this is a chipboard album that Stampin' Up! Made that I just covered in paper. So I covered the inside as well with paper. So, but yeah, so it's all about me. It's all about Kris. But it was really fun because, again, they sort of gave you the ideas for your pages, right? So this one is just things like my full name, my siblings, my hobbies, my kids, where you can sort of list things like that. And then the other prompt they had is what defines me. And so I had fun just going through magazines trying to find words that I felt define me, that I could cut up and make this collage. And then that's me and my Volkswagen Beetle that I used to have years ago, that again, I think there's only maybe 2 of them in our town. So most people knew when they saw it that it was me, or they'd know when I was at work or when I wasn't at work because my car stood out so much. So, and then they had us do a day in the life of me. So I just did a really generic day, threw in a few photos of things. This one was fun. It's like what makes me. So excited, nervous, sad, happy. What makes me laugh, cry, angry, content. So it's just fun to sort of self-reflect and think about those things. And then we did favorites. So food, TV shows, snacks, movies, place I've traveled, holiday. Oh, this was a fun one. What's in the bag? So sort of what was in your purse, or I used to have a tote that I would take back and forth to work. All the things that were in there that sort of defined who you were. Favorite places to shop. Top 10 simple joys. This is a great exercise for anybody to do, is to stop and think about simple things that make you happy. So A cool breeze on a hot day. Dark chocolate. And of course the last one is spending time together with Bev, who's my husband, and the girls. Simple joys. I think nowadays people often talk about being present or in the moment, and that's what I think simple joys often are, is being present in the moment and realizing that what's making you joyful in this moment in time. So whether it is a cool breeze on a hot day or whether it is the sun on your face, that type of thing. And then the last page, I believe I came up with this idea myself, where I wanted to try this. So the road I have traveled, and I sort of started at the beginning of pictures of me when I was little, and then through my high school years when I rode horses, and then as a young adult going to university, and then getting married and having children. I think I ended up sort of with becoming part of the sandwich generation, where we had kids and older parents that we were caring for. And then, yeah, I kind of finished it at that point, because that was in 2009 when I created that. But anyway, so that's a little bit of my craft from the past and a little bit about me in my scrapbook about me. And yeah, so that is all that I have to share with you today. Thank you for sticking around, if you're still here. And thank you again. I appreciate all the likes and the comments, and just, yeah, the fact that you have stopped in today to visit with me and allow me to share my cross stitch with you, something that I enjoy doing, that I'm passionate about. So as I said, I will put in some photos and maybe a little video clip of Ollie. I tried to catch some of him playing outside today in the snow. So I'll try and add that in at the end if you want to see how much he's grown. So until next time, see ya, bye.